Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all of the vehicle-based Sentai suits so far, in honor of the fact that we got a new vehicle-based series, BoonBoomGer. Now, this is sort of a start of a series where I'm going to be doing several themed. It's not like a traditional series, just a couple videos along the same theme. So the first one's going to be suits, and then I'm going to be doing one based off of like the main mecha and then sort of the mecha ecosystem. Now I bring that up because I want to advertise it. No, I bring it up because there's something interesting about the list in terms of this is the most interesting list you're ever going to see. No, I don't know. Just get to the point, Dawson. Your jokes aren't good. So, Go Busters. I wouldn't count Go Busters as a vehicle-based Sentai, in my opinion, for the suit ranking. I feel like, in general, their design and idea feels like, outside of the spy theme, feels like a spiritual successor to Go-Ongers in the sense of blending like a tech feel with an animal feel. And I feel that, in my opinion, and let me know whether you think like one way or the other, their Zords fit in with a ranking of mecha for vehicle-based because they very much have vehicle-based ones, and I think they're an interesting spin on it. Like, I'm counting Major on that list and this list, so if they count, I feel Go Busters counts for the vehicles. But I don't think they count for the suits because I don't think there's anything about the vehicle system that fits in for their suit designs. So I'm not counting Go Busters for the suits, and they'd probably be my favorites anyway. But again, let me know, and I know this fandom gets all hung up on categorization and stuff, and this is just mainly meant to be fun. So, coming in at the bottom, unfortunately, is BoonBoomGer. And I say unfortunately because these suits get a lot of hate. You know, they weren't my favorite right away either, and it's not as if they're my favorite now, but they've definitely grown on me, and there's a lot I like about them. You know, the clown shoes aside, I really like the main actual suits. They can look a little cheap sometimes, but in general, I really like the design of it, the different material, there's the sort of idea behind them I really like. The helmets immediately stick out as kind of fugly and weird and odd, and aren't necessarily, like I said, my favorite, but they have kind of grown on me. Like, the more I've seen them, and especially with the way some of the posters look, I'm actually kind of here for it a little bit, to be honest. And I kind of like how they're in the middle line between, that was a weird way of putting that, but kind of right in the middle of like something weird and off the wall and unique and kind of in that experimental lane we've been doing, but also a little bit traditional with a little bit of visor going on. So they're growing on me, and I could almost see them like moving up in the ranking as we get the series because, you know, obviously I like the King Oger suits more right away, but those suits I loved more and more when we saw them in action, and if they're shot cinematically, I could see them moving up, but I just couldn't rank them higher the more I was looking at the other suits and the more I liked them more. But I want to be clear, no hate. After that is Turbo Ranger. Now, I struggled with the placement of these because I don't have as much experience with Turbo Ranger outside of seeing pictures and a clip on once in a blue moon, and I think, you know, Gokai changes. And initially I was going to rank BoonBoomGer higher because I was looking at the photos of these guys. I'm like, I really like these suits a lot, actually. These are good, classic Sentai suits. Like, the main suits in general are simple but effective. I like the contrast of like the white tee and the main color. And the helmets are all really well designed. They have a good classic feel, and they all stand out distinctly while still fitting with the same symmetry. But also, there's something about them that just don't gel together. Like, when you look at all the helmets together, I appreciate that they all have the same, like I said, design principle, but then the way they fill it in is all distinctly different. But there's something about them that just makes them not fit together as a group as well when you look at the picture, at least in my opinion. And that kind of put me off, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll rank BoonBoomGer higher. Like, I don't know, I do kind of dig these suits. And then I was doing stuff for the mecha video, and I'm like, I need to see the mecha in action, and I watched a video on the mecha, and seeing them together on screen just worked for me a little bit more. So while they're lower on the list because I like other suits more and I have less experience with these are good, solid, classic, vehicle-based Sentai suits. Next up is Go-Onger. I hate that these are kind of like almost lower middle because I actually really do like the Go-Onger suits in general. I love the idea of mixing the animals and the vehicle theme. They have an almost live-action anime look, which I like. I have a lot of nostalgia for them too because this was the first Sentai that came out when I was like into Sentai with Geki Ranger, and like sort of the first time I experienced seeing the scans live, and I remember it being really exciting. And there's so much I like about the designs with the symbols, like integrating the number and the animal and the car theme. I love like the seatbelt stuff, the weapon, like there's so much I like about them. But the reason they are ranked a little bit lower, I was kind of thinking about these more as a team. And even though I like all these guys for sure, like, I think it's yellow and blue, not to call anybody out, but I'm not a big a fan of their helmets. Like, blues is kind of forgettable for me, and I find yellow to be kind of fugly, whereas I really like red, just kind of representing the core of what I like about the designs. I adore black and greens. I love the Go-On wings, although I'm not the biggest on Go-On Silver's helmet. So that was why I had it rank a little bit lower, was just because even though I love them overall in idea, in terms of a group, I don't like them as much in the way that they kind of gel together. I don't think they gel together as ones higher on this list. Speaking of Car Rangers / of course Power Rangers Turbo, even though I think like individually I like a lot of the suits in Go-Onger / RPM more, these suits just flow together more in my opinion. And these are weird suits because I wouldn't say they're necessarily high on my list of favorite suits, but I think they're really underrated, just good classic Sentai suits. Like, I've talked about this before. There was just one day where I was like cleaning or something and the Turbo movie was on TV and I popped it on, and both in terms of the mecha and the suits, I'm like, those are just clean, well-designed suits. Like, the helmets are simple, yet they all stand out together. Suits are kind of forgettable, but they're just not boring in my opinion, and I think the contrast of the super white boots and gloves really fits. Like, they're just well-designed suits, and they just flow together more as a team compared to BoonBoomGer, which is why I rank them a little bit higher. After that is Kara Major, which I didn't even think about as a vehicle theme, but I guess there is vehicle theme stuff within it, and Zords kind of reflect the vehicle theme a little bit more, but I really love these suits a lot. I think that they, as I've mentioned in numerous videos, so if you've watched any of those other videos, I apologize about the repeated point, they represent what I like about Kara Major in general, is they have a really good classic Sentai feeling to them, and yet feel like something new. There's a little bit something alien about them. Certainly a more unique vehicle type Sentai and less obvious than the others, but some of my favorite suits. But my number one favorite are BoonBoomGer, and BoonBoomGer is less car-themed and more overall vehicle-themed, but you can definitely see the vehicle influence in the suits, and as someone who usually prefers the more magical and mystical and animal-based series, these are some of my favorite suits. There's something about them that works for me. The helmets are really unique, but they have this kind of cool angular look to them. I love the contrast of the white running down the middle, even like the silver shoulder pads. I love the symbol. There's just something about these suits that have always clicked for me, and again, as someone who usually prefers the more mythical and stuff like that, these are one of the few vehicle and tech-based ones that really click for me as my favorite. But that is just my list. If I missed anything or you have other ones you think is vehicle-based or what your take on Go Busters is, let me know in the comments. And like I said, let me know your list. The only other one I could think of, which sort of skirts this category, is Go-Go 5, Lightspeed Rescue, but it's more rescue-based, and I guess they have vehicles. And my thing with those is, if that counts at all for you, in terms of the suits, they've always just been fine. I like them all right. But I feel like that's another one like Go Busters where I feel the mecha would count more than the suits. But anyways, guys, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. DaweSomeWriter, signing out.